Hey guys, Alex here from indieartistlounge.com. Today I want to give you an arrangement tip that will help you to grab your listeners' attention in your song and in your production and keep their attention throughout the whole thing. And that tip is to change things up a bit. So music by nature is typically very repetitive, right? The verses of our song will usually have kind of the same chords, probably the same melody, maybe even some of the same lyrics. Choruses, even more so, they'll have, usually they're exactly the same from one chorus to the next. And the problem can be if we treat our productions as being very repetitive as well, then we can get to the point where the song just kind of becomes monotonous and boring. We actually need to change things up a little bit as we go along in order to hold our listeners' attention. And this doesn't actually just go for our productions, this also goes for songwriting. So I want to show you an example of a song from my recent EP that demonstrates this. So let's have a look. This song is called You Never Let Me Go, which is the title track of the EP. And I want to show you verse 1, and then I want to show you verse 2. And let me just explain what I want you to be listening for. In verse 1, it's very simple. There's not a lot going on, okay? There's a kick drum going on and a little bit of drums. There's a guitar. There's some synths and pads and so on in the background, and there's some vocals, okay? And then in verse 2, it's very similar, but I want you to notice a few key differences. First of all, the drums are going to have come in a little bit more. There's going to be more happening on the drums. There's also some percussion happening. There's going to be a tambourine hitting on top of our snare hits. There's going to be some bass. There's going to be some extra little acoustic guitar partway through. And you'll notice that the vocals have changed up a bit. You'll notice that when I wrote this song, I kind of wrote into it that I wanted verse 2 to be a little bit different from verse 1. So let me just show you those two verses. See if you can pick out those differences that I just mentioned. Here we go.
I never thought I'd have to look so hard to find you. I never knew that you could be so hard to see. I look around and all I see is pain, much to lose and nothing left to gain. Have I lost my faith?
All right, so now listen to how it really picks up in verse 2.
My heart is cold and my passion's dry. All my hopes crashed in the blink of an eye. Can't see the light from here. How do I say what I'm feeling inside? How do I speak when I'm used to hiding? Are you there listening to my cry?
So if I had written or produced verse 2 to sound exactly the same as verse 1, exactly the same sort of melody with the vocals, exactly the same instrumental arrangement, same drums, no tambourine, same guitars, same everything, then probably the listener would start to lose attention and wouldn't enjoy the song as much. But as you could tell, the drums were different. There was a bit of an extra acoustic guitar part. The vocal was different. Even for the first half of the verse, it was a little bit different. I was singing a little more aggressively. And then for the second half, as you could probably tell, I changed things up a lot by kind of jumping up to that higher octave. So that's something that you can do for your own arrangements, for your own songs, for your own mixes and productions that will just help to guide your listener along that musical journey. It helps them to feel like the song is building, that it's not just remaining stagnant, that it's going somewhere, it's building up. Things are starting to happen as we progress through it. And like I said, this doesn't start at the mixing phase. It doesn't even start at the recording phase. It starts at the songwriting stage of things, okay? When you're writing your song, think about how can verse 2 be just a little different, just a little bigger, a little more interesting or exciting than verse 1. Even choruses, okay? How can the second chorus be a little bit different from the first chorus? And then maybe how can the third chorus be just a little bit different again? Think about this when you're doing your pre-production, when you're coming up with your arrangement decisions. What instrumentation do you want to build in, and so on. So that's the tip for today. Change things up a little bit. It'll help your songs to be more interesting and to carry your listener along through it. So again, I'm Alex from indieartistlounge.com. Don't forget to go check out the blog. That's indieartistlounge.com. Sign up for the email newsletter if you haven't already. I'll give you a video series called The Home Mixing Blueprint, which will give you kind of my step-by-step process of how I go through a mix. And plus you'll be on the email list, so you'll get more content every week helping you to make better music in your home studio. So thanks for checking out this video. I'll talk to you soon.